Good evening. You're listening to Bite-Sized Book Reviews, and the latest book I read is called Mr. Magic by Kiersten White. So, like Rouge, the prologue is actually written in second person, where someone is talking to the narrator, but most of this book is written in third person present tense. The main character, Val, has spent most of her life living on a farm. Like, she now runs summer programs for kids and helps out in other ways around the ranch, like with the horses and other animals. But she came to this farm with her father when she was a child with zero memory of what happened like before that point in her life. 30 years has passed since then, and her father has just passed away, and at his funeral, like a whole group of people who seem to know her really well sort of sweep back into her life. So ever since she was little, like her father has been really paranoid. Like as far as she's aware, like she doesn't have an ID, she doesn't have, like anything in her own name. People don't know she exists, and like they, never watched television, never traveled. Like he literally, doesn't allow like TVs and stuff where they live. And a lot of this, she always thought he was hiding them from something, although she doesn't know what, and she's also really starting to doubt that he was all that sane in the first place, and, maybe it was nothing that needed to be worried about at all. But anyway, so this group of people shows up, and they bring with them the possibility of learning something more about her past. So what she finds out is that she was actually part of a children's program which ended 30 years ago under mysterious circumstances. So this popular children's show was called Mr. Magic. And you find that this show has a lot of really strange lore about it. Like, even though it was really well known and there's a lot of people who remember watching it, no one can find any recordings at all. Like, there's nothing on YouTube, no clips anywhere. There aren't even any descriptions of what actually happened in each episode. There's also no record of like the people who created it or any of the actors who took part. And in particular, there is like zero information about who or what Mr. Magic actually was, and he or it or whatever was the I guess quote unquote adult figure on the show. And Val herself was apparently part of this last cast. So she and this group of strangers who aren't really strangers, like who seem to know her really well, are going to a renewal broadcast, which is meant to be kind of like a reunion of the last group and a potential prelude to a restarting of the show. But when she arrives like at the location where the podcast is supposed to be, like they find themselves in this really strange house out in the middle of nowhere, a little distance away from an equally strange kind of community. So this story follows Val as she learns like exactly what happened, like why her father took her and ran away, and what has been going on here and what kind of secrets both this town and this television program have been keeping. So I don't really know how I feel about this story, so it's really hard to pick likes or dislikes. Like, I think it was kind of interesting. Like, I've mentioned before that I like slightly bizarre things. I guess this might be a little bit creepy to some people, like the televisions turning on at night when no one touches them, and weird dreams and nightmares, that kind of creepy, although I don't think it's an especially scary story. It talks actually quite a bit about what it means, I think, to be a good parent. Like, there's a pretty major focus on children and the relationship between adults and kids, like how sometimes parents want children to behave a certain way, and like whether or not that's really a good thing, like what exactly is in like the best interest of the child. Like, if I think too much about exactly what was going on in this town and with this show. I think it's actually a little bit horrifying, but that's probably not really useful information for reading. Like in general, it was definitely the kind of story that leaves you thinking about things. I guess if I had to pick, I guess the like and the dislike might actually be the same thing. Like I thought the story managed to tie all its lines together really well, and it managed to pick, I think, the only way it could possibly have concluded the type of mystery it was doing, where it wasn't super tragic, but at the same time I do think the ending was a little bit sad.